this holy scepter, hold the scepter of Christ's kingly authority over, first of all, over our own unruly passions and pride. So this is where, and he goes with this scepter idea and begins the 4th chapter of his book called The Scepter of Self-Discipline. So that's where we start as men. Okay? So he starts out with the young man. Many a young man has momentarily experienced the strange self-conscious realization that he is now full-grown, a man standing in the place of his father. The nostalgia of this strange self-consciousness is often accompanied by a feeling of inadequacy. Do I have what it takes? These feelings of inadequacy are especially prevalent in this present age, when at the time of the boy's adolescence there is no process of initiation into the ranks of manhood. We often will have that. You know, we look at what is adolescence about today, especially in the West, and how do we see adolescence? It's a time, in the view of the world, is a time of privileges and freedoms of an adult with few responsibilities. Adolescence, including the collegiate years, and don't we see that? I worry about that sometimes. Somebody might necessarily have to go to college, a young man with a career ahead of him, but sometimes the kid just isn't grown up yet. And so in order to extend, so to not take on any responsibility, just extend it on out. Extend the childhood on out, put them back in school. It's like the last hoorah before the drudgery of adulthood. And then look at the adults we'll see. This idyllic belief of adolescence as the best time of life is perpetuated by adults who harbor regrets that they didn't live their own youthful life to its fullest. So they keep on being kids as adults. Or secretly wish they could go back and somehow vicariously seek to live it out again through their children. So they spoil and give to the kids because they feel like as if they were deprived. Because why? They're listening to the world. This next statement is the golden nugget I want us to all take away from here, because it's very important to those of us who have sons as to what their future is going to be like. Because if we think this is a problem, there's a solution. He gives us a solution right here to this problem of a lack of manhood in our society. It is during adolescence, these teenage years, it is during adolescence that habits and values are most readily inculcated. For the child enters adolescence with his character at its most impressionable. Watch this. More often than not, the habits and values developed during adolescence are carried over and enshrined for a lifetime. The habits that are placed in these kids during these formative years stay with them for a lifetime. And don't we see it happening? Whenever, as teens, they are just let go and roam about, no self-discipline, no self-control. See how this goes with our faith? We are told to deny ourselves, to deny our animal nature, and override that to be human. This adult and retention of values and spirit of adolescence is apparent in this the West popular culture, which at best can be described as juvenile. So what are we doing with our sons at this stage, at this age? Are we giving them are we starting to work responsibility into their daily lives? What did Jim Rohn say? Children can do fantastic, amazing things if they are given amazing things to do. What are our expectations? Do we expect them just to be a perpetual kid, or do we expect them to grow into manhood? So if in the Christian community it is desirous for a future of adult population that will be committed to and inculcated with the values of the faith and the family, then they must conclude the inculcation of those values during adolescence. Thus, the formal call to manhood is popularly issued at the onset of this formative period. The scepter is a scepter of authority. We have authority over our families. Don't let anybody tell you different. This is the role of the father in the home. Authority over his family. But the subject of this authority over the boy himself rather than others. So he has to form it over himself first before he can grow into the role of exercising it over others. For before he wields the scepter of authority over others, he must wield the scepter of authority over himself, thus developing an interior moral authority and the virtues requisite to manhood. This scepter of authority wielded over oneself is more succinctly called the scepter of self-discipline.